Hello everyone, it's Aaron from Push Square and this is your weekly episode review of HBO's The Last of Us, this time for episode 4. Now, of course, you'll know by now these are spoiler reviews. If you're looking for a non-spoiler review, you can check out the written review over on the Push Square website, which I'll link down below. So, let's get into it. This episode sees Joel and Ellie travel through Kansas City, which is taking the place of Pittsburgh from the game. This was probably the first episode that felt like a casual TV show, like a regular TV show to me. It was the shortest of the lot, coming in around 45 minutes long, and it's the first episode of the season that has a multi-episode arc, so you're not having everything tied up by the end of the episode, and it ends in a bit of a cliffhanger. And for me, it made it the least satisfying episode so far. When the credits came up, I was almost annoyed. They kind of took me by surprise, and I was like, I'm going to have to wait another week to see what happens. So it definitely felt the least full of all of them, but there was a lot of great stuff in here, and I think obviously when you take the season as a whole, it's going to play out a lot better. I'm obviously talking about it from the perspective of someone that's watching it week to week, and we're not too used to watching episodes weekly these days, so sometimes it can be quite brutal. But I loved that HBO is still taking its time with this story, despite the fact that I felt like this episode wasn't as full. There's a lot of great character moments there between Joel and Ellie, and you have to appreciate that they're just going slow with this. We're almost at the halfway point, and we're only really getting to the point of Joel not completely hating Ellie and Ellie not completely hating Joel. Seeing the infamous pun book make an appearance, I loved that, and I liked that it was sort of, you were getting the wee smirk from Joel, and you almost had that look in his face where he's like, yeah, she's alright, okay, she's alright. I have, up until this point, really been sitting on the fence with Bella Ramsey's portrayal of Ellie, but this is the episode that kind of won me over. I've really been enjoying Pedro Pascal as Joel for the most part, and Bella Ramsey as Ellie had her moments here or there, but in this episode, I think with the two of them together, it just kind of made sense, and for me, was the first time where I said, oh yeah, there's Joel and Ellie. Obviously it's a different version, but I could see it there and I appreciated it, and I can feel myself sort of falling in love with these characters again. And that is entirely down to this team, HBO, Neil Druckmann, Craig Mazin, taking their time with the story, taking their time with the narrative beats, where, you know, we're 4 hours, maybe slightly over, into this story now, and we're only just getting Joel and Ellie kind of talking to each other. You have to appreciate that, and I think it's going to pay off really well. So I want to talk briefly about the stuff that changed with this episode. We're obviously getting a deeper look into the hunters of Pittsburgh or Kansas City. This is a faction that has overthrown Fedra, so they have control of the entire area, but they seem to be quite ruthless. I love seeing Jeffrey Pierce, the original actor who played Tommy, in this new role as Percy or something like that. I can't quite remember. It seemed like a cool role. I like that we're potentially making new villains, like actual singular villains, because in the game it's just a group of hunters. There's not like a person. So I like that we could potentially be getting that with episode 5 when it eventually comes. And one of the things, I'm probably not going to be able to get the footage to show you here, but there's the underground bit where there's something moving around. My initial reaction was like, oh, this is the Rat Kings so early, but thinking about it more, it really couldn't be to me. It has to just be a nest of bloaters and clickers. I think that's what it's going to be. But my initial thing was like, oh, we're getting to this already. I thought they would have saved that. But we'll see. I think it's going to be bloaters. One of the biggest narrative beats of the whole episode is Ellie sort of maiming the person that has gotten the better of Joel. And I do think it was on the verge of being a little overdone, with the guy begging for his life and screaming. Of course, we're trying to hammer home that this is the brutality of a post-apocalyptic world. I entirely get it. I think it was on the verge of being overdone and a little hammy. But Bella Ramsey's portrayal really brought it back, because you could see almost the adrenaline pumping through her, where it was like, what has she done? She's seen the cruelty or the reality of her actions, and I really enjoyed that. I loved the back and forth between Joel and Ellie as they went up this skyscraper, and having that final laughing moment between them was like such a heartwarmer after what has pretty much just been death and depression for 3 other episodes. So that was really nice. And I was expecting a little bit more of Sam and Henry, but of course we got them in a slightly new version of meeting here. I am really curious to see why the hunters or that group are after Henry and Sam when they're basically just people going through the town in the game. So I'm curious to see what the story is behind that. But yeah, another solid episode. Maybe not the most action-packed, maybe not the most, eventful in comparison to the previous episodes, but there was a lot of great character moments there. The actors are really coming into their own with these characters. And then when I think we have the full picture, having an episode like this that takes things slower, that's laying the emotional footwork, I think it's really going to pay off. And I can't wait to see if it really does. So let me know what you think of this week's episode down in the comments. And of course, you can check out all the other episode reviews on the Push Square channel. If you're in the market for PlayStation coverage like this, of course this is a massive adaptation of a Sony exclusive, then why not subscribe to us here on Push Square? We'd really appreciate it. But anyway, thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.